Yeah.
Another Jordan Bean effort.
Puck kicked in.
Is it too much, Dennis, for a couple of months of this? Yeah. No kidding. Goals being called. I mean, they
roll, having goals called back. But you can see McCabe does a great job tying up the stick of Hedel. So the puck comes into the skates of the Ranger forward, and Hedel kicks it in. And good for the officials for getting it right. They've readjusted the clock to 1.9
seconds from the end of the season.
But the Leafs have really been blessed with goals being called back.
And the draw won by O'Reilly, and the Maple Leafs will tie a club record with their 23rd road victory of the season. Mitch Marner had lots of
whole life, buddy. Whole life.
All right.
All right. William Nylander hits the 40-goal plateau. Mitch Marner does not get his 100th point of the season. Crazy game. Crazy game. Good stuff. The Leafs are hot. Man, the way they beat Tampa the other night, Brandon, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sat Marner and Matthews and had an AHL goalie start and then beat them up. Just made them look bad. All right. So we are live streaming. Welcome, everybody. Getting started. Top of the show.
Oh, yes.
And I'm just trying to share it around and make sure people in the world know, because I'm restricted from being able to share it on my weather group thanks to motherfucking Facebook's ridiculous policies. Did you see this one?
Yeah, I thought.
like so ridiculous, Brandon. So it was a Vice News article about what to do to make your partner who has a foot fetish happy. So I commented jokingly, cut off one of your feet and give it to them. It will be special. And then so I'm restricted from posting in groups, and I got these messages that are asking me if I'm about self-harm and suicide. And I'm like, no, Facebook, I'm not going to cut off my leg again. I learned the first time. Like, it defies logic. And the week of my birthday, I can't even post weather updates on my weather group. What's it got to do with my weather group? I can post anything I want on my own page.
It's crazy.
Just arbitrary, punitive fucking...
Like elementary school, man.
Just decides out of the blue, like.
Yeah, you're going to the principal's office today, yeah.
So here's some of the things I got for this week, Brandon.
Yep.
Prehistoric Megalodon shark in the Nechako River in Prince George.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good story. People are going to like this one when we get to it. What else we got? New Jersey's Pine Barrens are on fire, and this is the time of year where forest fires happen in New Jersey. They have a different fire season than we do because it's drier there, first thing in the spring. However, it's the fire behavior that I'm seeing that is pretty extreme. Some of these images, not what I expect to see in April necessarily. And I don't think anyone's arguing that it's not unusual for fires to happen in New Jersey. It's the extreme fire behavior that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So there's a dangerous cyclone that strengthened as it approached Australia. There's some things going on there. New floods in Burundi have displaced thousands of families. And of course, we had that stationary thunderstorm yesterday in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a flash flood warning going on there right now. Calgary just had its first thunderstorm of the year. It's died off. I see it in radar, and nothing impressive seems to be remaining.
Yep. Yes, they did. Where is it? Thunder. There it is. Yes, Thunderstorm.
And I think, oh, there you go. Yeah. And I think we got Hank already here. Hank Vliestra's already here. Do you know Hank, Brandon?
Yeah, we
Hello.
on Saturday.
Oh, you were at
Yeah, I saw
ChaserCon.
Brandon on the weekend.
You were at
That was
ChaserCon.
good. Yeah,
That is cool, man.
I am joining you from my yard in Saskatchewan.
Well, great. Welcome. As you can see, like, I don't really want to go out in my yard, and that little snowbank, keep in mind, is about twice the height of that car out there and above my truck. It's still here at 3,930 feet above sea level. It is still fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was ChaserCon, Hank?
Oh, it was awesome. It's my third one that I've been to, and I enjoyed it greatly. I mean, the thing about it is, I'm not the most talkative, outgoing guy, but at the same time, that's the kind of environment where I kind of change into more of a talkative, outgoing guy than usual. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
you're with your own kind, right?
Hmm.
So that's nice. Yes. So everyone, welcome. We just started streaming a few minutes ago. Hit subscribe if you can, hit like and share and thumbs up. And so I'll explain to Hank how this goes, and for everybody who is new that might be showing up. At 7 o'clock, Frankie McDonald shows up on the dime, on the button. And at 8 p.m., Frankie leaves on the dime, on the button. That's how it works. And what I do is at 7 o'clock, as soon as I see Frankie showing up, I hit record. So we live stream this. This is live streaming, but then we record the live stream. And then I spend hours of painful editing and pulling my hair out to make what becomes the radio show / television show. That's the deal. That's how it goes. So this is kind of the pre-show. We make sure we got we kind of get our stories as to what's going on this week and what everyone's got. 25-year-old grizzly bear who is serving a life sentence at the Toronto Zoo jail has been killed by a lethal injection. So it has served its punishment. Poor bear, 25-year-old bear. And we had a TSN, Toronto Sports Network, Jordan Ciccelli, I should say. She vowed to eat a poutine hot dog for every home run the Blue Jay hit. You can tell she works for Toronto Sports Network and not Sportsnet, because Sportsnet is the network that owns the Jays. And everybody who works for Sportsnet is well aware at how many home runs the Blue Jays hit. And unfortunately for Jordan Ciccelli, they hit 5 on the opening night game. And hundreds of thousands of dimes were stolen from a parked truck in Philadelphia. And blowfish, the pufferfish, has killed a Malaysian couple. Fugu, death by fugu. And then also a man has been jailed for scaring 1,100 chickens to death. And the big story of the hour, like I said, prehistoric Megalodon shark has been prehistoric Megalodon shark in the Nechako River. So that's the news this week. Hello. Oh my God, my mother has just walked into my house.
I might have someone showing up too.
Oh, all right. I might have to carry the show tonight.
No, Mom will be in on it. She's got no choice. You can't show at showtime and pull up a chair, dear Mom.
My mother from Ontario has just shown up. I haven't seen her for years. Come pull a chair up. Pull a chair up. Get in.
Oh, I've been sitting all day.
Well, still.
Literally.
This is. There you go. Beat that. Imogen. She can't even beat that. She'll have like, what are you doing? Pushing that thing. All right.
I'm just getting it out of the way so I don't trip over or knock over.
That was a complete, absolute fucking shock. So you gotta get in here and have a seat. Would you like me to make you a coffee, mother?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I've had coffee today.
My mother. Look at this.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hello, world.
Hello.
Hey, when was the last time I saw you?
I want to say 2015.
You certainly look a lot fucking older, but no, you were here between now and then.
Was I?
And
I'm
you
pretty
wonder
sure,
why
yes.
you fail with women constantly. Way to go, Joey. Way to go.
Yeah,
So
argue with your mom right away.
My mother has just walked in the door for showtime here, and
And the first thing you say is you look old.
I was teasing her.
My God.
No, it's true.
Not that much older.
It's true.
I got to
You know,
drive
compared to what Oma looked like,
4 hours to see my mother.
you look like a young woman.
Hmm.
I'd say that. You know, like, and I was saying this about the generation. Sorry to cut you off, Hank, but I'll get to you in a second here. I was saying this about the generation before you a few weeks ago, that when people were 60 years old when I was a kid, they looked fucking old and they acted old, right? They like old things, and now like I got, you know, half my friends are 60 and they're punk rock fucking legends in bands, and they don't look that, you don't look as old as your mother did. I know she had cancer when she's in her 60s, but you don't look, you look half the fucking age she did.
Oh, thank you. But I think some of that is because you are significantly older as well.
No, because she walked around like a
Keep
grandmother.
digging, Joey. Keep digging.
She walked around like a grandmother.
Well, she was.
Like
Still.
a grandmother. How does a grandmother walk? Can we see a really tasteful demonstration that doesn't insult old people at all?
Great grandmother, I think.
So, all to have him, and Hank Vliestra, we have another Dutch person on. Hank's first time. Imogen, meet Hank.
Hey,
Hank
Hank.
Storms, he was at ChaserCon last weekend.
Oh, that's
And we're gonna
awesome.
His brain about Saskatchewan stuff.
Oh, the magic of
Yeah,
Saskatchewan.
we got a nice Western
Sweet.
Canada bias now going on.
Right. We just need Joe Stover from Churchill to hop on here tonight.
Well, that's true. And if we had say Monica come on, then we'd have New Brunswick covered. Mom's got Ontario covered. All right. Just went through a big ice storm. She just left 30-degree weather to come to Wells.
Not very bright.
Well,
What have you got this week, Brandon?
well, we're gonna cool down. Well, actually, we're gonna warm up this weekend here, so it'll probably be about 60 degrees, and then we cool down next week. And there's some signs of some snow as well later on next week, so that's something to look forward to.
Did you say the S word for next week?
Yeah, maybe. That's what's going on in Saskatchewan right now, actually. Yeah, I got some snow falling in South Regina there. We had some thunder crackers today in Alberta. Couple
Oh,
of
I
them.
saw that. I saw that thanks to you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's great to see that.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's a little unfortunate that it was not close enough to Brandon that we got a video of him outside screaming and jumping.
Yeah, there was some convective stuff today, but yeah, nothing too wild yet.
You're starting to vibrate.
Starting to. I was getting a little excited, and then nothing happened. So then I'm like, all right, I'll try this again tomorrow. There's another chance tomorrow, so get the first crack of thunder.
Yeah, we got I think Sunday's our day, maybe, for some lightning.
All right.
We had strikes 22.5 kilometers from here on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Monday?
I think Tuesday. Yeah,
Thank you for remembering my weather better than I do.
you're welcome.
Imogen, Bailey, what you got this week?
Well, that giant flotilla of sargassum seaweed is starting to hit the U.S. East Coast, so the smell is about to get just delightful down there. Rotting, rancid seaweed. Smells like sulfur. So the beaches are about to be completely wrapped up in that. Also, there is another major ocean found under the Earth's surface. I think I sent Brandon a link about that one.
Oh,
All
yes.
sorts of cool stuff. Yeah, it's been a really wild week in terms of scientific discoveries. So there was also a lightning strike happened where a new mineral was discovered, not previously known. I believe that was in India. So that's kind of neat. All sorts of crazy stuff going on.
Oh,
The
yeah.
world is wild and wacky and kooky.
I theorize that lightning probably created the first organism on Earth.
Zapped a fish in the sea, gave it legs, it started strutting around. It's like doing some line dancing stuff. It's a fish and it's only by itself, so it doesn't have much to do but line dance. So yeah, I think you're onto something. That's
We've
where
had
line dancing came from, lightning and lower brained animals. I mean fish.
We've had all these crazy storms down in Florida, actually, where the sargassum is washing ashore. So have a look at this for a second here. Here's Radar Scope Pro Tier 2, and this is Florida, and we can't see the sargassum, but we can see. So Brandon or Hank, what are the chances that these storms help blow the sargassum deeper ashore because it raises the water level? The wind's blowing across the ocean, it's pushing in. What are the chances that more sargassum is being put ashore further inland?
Yeah, I'd say, especially if you have, easterly wind, all you need is an easterly wind, and that will push all that seaweed on the shore there. And yeah, that's pretty good, pretty high probability that occurring. If you get that easterly wind, get a good easterly wind, that's what you need. Oh, yeah. Easterly wind and the swells moving in from east, too. Yeah.
Yeah, sargassum alert. So much sargassum. If you watched our episode a few weeks ago about sargassum, sargassum is coming ashore. It is.
There's also an ash alert.
Oh, also worth noting, there's a new asteroid discovered that's sort of considered to be a secondary moon to Earth, which, given what we know about how the moon affects the gravitational pull and the ocean currents and whatnot, which does affect all of our weather systems and blah, 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 we may have some more wacky weather phenomena happening as it comes back into our orbit. So I like to think that that's given that sargassum seaweed an extra push to give it some extra stench is what I'm hoping. And I'm also hoping that there's aliens surfing behind it.
Well, I'm guessing.
Kind of like water skiing.
I'm guessing that the sargassum might get pushed further north into the Carolinas because of some of this low pressure. Yeah. Right. So we may have a spreading of sargassum event. So much fucking.
Are you being sarcastic?
So much sargassum. So that's oh yeah, I was gonna ask you actually. Sorry, I didn't mean to take that down. We're gonna put that back up because we're still in pre-show time and we can talk about stuff. What are you seeing here, everybody, that piques your interest? So I got at the 500 millibar level so that you can totally see where the jet stream mostly lies right now.
Yep, troughing in the west, ridging in the east, hot in the east, cool in the west. That's how we do it around here.
I'm gonna switch over to trusty Windy in a second, but there's a really interesting thing there. Actually, let's go to Windy right now. Where are you? So here's Windy. Low pressure in the Aleutians. So that's normal. Low pressure through the Yukon. Low pressure through BC and Alberta. I mean, we got a little bit of high pressure here, but it's basically we've had crappy weather forever, for days here and for days to come. Low pressure 991 down in the United States, just in time for Tornado Friday repeat. And it's going to make miserable weather for Manitoba. There was thunderstorms already in Northern Ontario today. There was freezing rain warnings, I believe, right now for this area in Northern Ontario. And heavy rainfall. We got low pressure. And then what's over here? Low pressure. Is there anywhere that's where the weather isn't fucking shitty?
There in the bottom right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's where the sargassum is. and that's where the extreme flooding is.
Yeah.
So this is a map to behold. This is
Yeah, that's a big one.
just that's low pressure everywhere. You could almost call this a continent-wide storm.
Sort of.
Come on, Brandon.
It sure ain't stormy here in this part of Saskatchewan. It is calm
Yeah,
as can be.
same here in Alberta. It's pretty calm, just a little unstable, which is
Yes, I see. Just a little unstable.
little
But it's not going to be calm forever. So it's like a continent-wide
Yeah.
storm, right?
Mhm.
Nobody's biting.
I know you want the biggest storm.
It's the biggest
That
storm
low
ever.
close to Anchorage is pretty big too.
Oh yeah, that's pretty deep below. A couple of big highs out there too. Yeah, middle of the Pacific.
I was like 1,000, 1,003, 1,006. Like, is that really 3 lows? Or is that just one? And then it just sinks lower, 991. Is that really just the same bunch of low? Here's more low everywhere. The continent's depressed.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, it was a little unsettled. It's kind of a dirty low, that one, and high level there. That's more of a dirty low.
You're dirty.
You just described my mother.
Here's where you're going to see some of the interesting stuff tomorrow. This is overnight, but we're going to see this line develop all the way down from, I think, Minnesota, all the way down towards Texas.
Oh yeah, the temperature contrast today is pretty incredible too. Oh yeah.
And we got bad weather in Northern Ontario because of her. And when 1 p.m., the thunderstorms popping up. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Bam! That looks like a radar show to watch.
Yeah.
Who do you think's getting the tornadoes?
There's a slight change. I don't think it's going to be tornado activity tomorrow. It's going to be more hail and wind. The looks to this, but still could get maybe the odd isolated tornado. But
Let's hope. I wanna
So
see
it's
tornado
not a
flying around
continent-wide
somewhere.
storm, and it may not produce tornadoes.
I know I suck, don't I?
Yeah, we're trying to get some clickbait out of this, you know. Trying to find the clickbait here.
Yeah, I ruined all that, don't I? That's
We're gonna ask you lots about your storm chases, Hank, and Northern Lights chases and things like that. So be prepared, like Frankie would say.
about. You'd be here in about 7 minutes, I think. Yep.
7 minutes till Frankie.
Oh, he's just gonna come sliding right through the door. It's great, right on the button every time. Well,
Just
it's
like-
okay, except twice. In 2 years that I've been here, I've only ever seen him like miss the exact time twice. Once was
Yeah.
my 1 minute, and once was
A few
my
more
3.
times than that. Ah.
Yeah, those are the ones that I've been here for, though.
What is this shit?
What's that?
on
Oh yeah, the next
Sunday?
one for you.
Yeah.
That's gonna bring me some warmer air. Thank you for that.
Look at that nice cyclone.
And then it's gonna cross into Alberta probably by Monday. And then it's gonna bring us some fun weather, maybe some more lightning. It's gonna be fun.
You get the fun weather and we get the cyclone.
Well, you'll get some fun weather out of it too. Oh yeah. Snow.
Possibly. I'm
See,
looking
There's
forward
no
to
fun weather where I am, like ever. It was just today was another day of it's sunny out. It's another day of sunshine. Like this is the boring part of being on a tropical island is it's nothing but sunshine.
Well, that's why you have to use drugs to make it interesting.
Well, yeah, but if I liked drugs, I'd agree. I'm way too boring for that. Maybe I just haven't tried the right ones.
How come our thunderstorm projections all left and now we got snow? God
Well,
damn it.
Gotta
Maybe eat
plot on
processed food, so
see below the ray.
I feel like I'm not likely to find drugs I like.
The updated ECMWF has wells.
Let's see.
Look at that. Getting
There's-
attacked by arrows, by asteroids,
Oh yeah.
Good.
tadpoles, Mom
Tadpole.
says.
Tadpoles hurling asteroids with
Oh, yeah.
crossbows. They're shooting tadpoles out of their crossbows.
Tadsteroids.
Yeah.
There's could be some thunder at Vanderhoof here on a Sunday, and maybe just outside of Quesnel there.
How come ECMWF has changed?
What's that? Oh, I think we lost Joey. Only.
Hey, you know what?
Um,
It sorry to interrupt, Brandon. We actually had our first raindrop of the whole year this week here in Wilkie, Saskatchewan. It wasn't much. We had a few raindrops. I think it was one Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Monday night.
Mm.
But that's it so far. Just one
Oh.
little small rain shower.
All right. Yeah.
What happened there? Did I?
You said
How about
something.
you, Joey? Have you had that yet, Joey? Any
Have
rain?
I had what? Rabies?
Any rain yet this year?
I'm gonna say
Oh,
yes on rabies.
A little bit the other day.
Okay.
The day
mild
there was
case of
lightning
rabies.
22.5 kilometers from the house. So that was great. How is El Nino going to affect BC this year? Asked Paul Horvath. My inclination is that we are expecting later half of summer to be quite hot and dry and preparing for wildfire season. However, BC Wildfire Service has made a statement in Prince George that they don't expect a big season there. But then again, you get one big heat wave and some wind and things dry out and things change quickly. So I don't know how you could really say that. Southern BC, probably. What are you thinking for El Nino affecting BC this year, everybody?
We'll have to watch the El Nino pattern this year. It looks like they just issued the El Nino watch today. Yeah, they did issue the El Nino watch today. So it is a hotter, drier pattern, but sometimes El Nino can have its own little surprises. So yeah, something to watch for sure.
Sounds like fire season.
I believe there has been quite a bit of variation in what El Ninos are like, but I heard that it could be a pretty strong one. So the jury's out on how it's really gonna affect us. You know, it depends how strong it is and everything like that. But it will be interesting.
I think we should just look to the past in BC. And, you know, we have several different kinds of summers that we've had over the last, number of years, say the last 10, 20 years. The one where we have low pressure dominating in the Gulf of Alaska, and the jet stream tends to sit below BC or through the southern half of the province. And we get caught into mostly cool, unsettled weather. I think 2019 was a really good example of that. 2020 gave us a pretty good example of that. But then there's like 2017 and 18 and 2021, where you get these warm southerlies that come up from the deserts of the United States. And everything's funneling up that big heat to BC. So those are like the two patterns, more or less, that I've seen over the last bunch of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've looked back at my little weather logbook here, and this so far the start of spring is acting a lot like 2020 start here. So it's starting off cold on the below seasonal side, a little bit more wet and damp, and then into the month of June here we had a fairly active season for thunderstorms in 2020. So definitely something to keep an eye on for sure for this year for Alberta side of things, and probably in Saskatchewan as well. Might be a good thunderstorm season if that verifies.
I hope so.
Yep.
I mean, we're already seeing lots of, I mean, it's typically there's convective weather in BC at this time of year, but sometimes the nature of it beginning, it just kind of gives me hints, right, as to when those things. So we were getting lightning fairly commonly already in April. Here in the mountains, I expect that all these little puffer grapple cells that we get will start becoming little thunderstorms that are weak and die off.
Yeah.
More and more, and we get that pattern starts to settle in until the storms are. Look at this, Frankie's here. Time to start the show.
7 on the button.
7 on the button.
8 on the button.
Well,
and we'll just wait for the man here.
good morning, Frankie Mac, who can't hear us.
Evening, Frankie. You ready to start?
Yes, I'm ready, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Prince George. Good afternoon, Winnipeg. Hello, Kamloops and Shaw TV. Yeah, my mom just showed up at showtime, Frankie, to surprise me for my birthday. Just walked in the door. Just walked in the door, and it's your birthday too coming up, Frankie. Don't you forget. You're 39 this year.
Yes.
All right. So this is a meteorological report. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. You're listening to us on C4 88.7 FM, Prince George, CKUW 95.9, Winnipeg, CFBX Kamloops, and Shaw Spotlight TV. I'm Joey Only, your host here in Wells, British Columbia, on top of the world. I see what I do up here is I sit on top of the mountains and I look across Canada and watch all the weather go by and tell you what it's going to be. That's kind of what I do, right? So you can see the show here and all the other past episodes on Joey Only Caribbean Weather Dude, the finished product every week. And we also live stream as we're making it. So we got in the studio this week, of course, Frankie McDonald, our special super guest for our 104th show, I think, this week. We have special guest from Saskatchewan, from Saskatchewan, Hank Vliestra, storm chaser. And he's going to tell us about, the chasing storms in Saskatchewan. And Brandon Hauk, our, as always, radio man down in Brooks, Alberta. He's the voice of weather in Alberta. That's who he is. But his Brooks Bandits hockey team has just progressed past another round. They're looking to win all Canada, like for the 20th straight year. The Brooks Bandits, just the best team in small time hockey. And Imogen Cookie Bailey, the co-producer down there in Victoria. That's all of us. Wow. And my mom, Allie Haveman, who just showed up from Ontario, like at showtime to surprise me. Haven't seen her in years. So now she's got to share me with you for a few more minutes. That's how it goes, because it's showtime here. Frankie McDonald, how you doing so far?
I'm doing great so far. Then it got really, really bad weather here for Kazakhstan on Saturday. It's going to be worst weather in the world this Saturday coming. Major snowstorm headed for Kazakhstan, including Kazakhstan's going to bring a whole lot of snow on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be very strong winds with a lot of snow. Sent a sharp cold air is heading for Kazakhstan. Starting off with rain, it's going to change over to snow in Kazakhstan.
So be prepared out there in Kazakhstan for anything. Frankie, what's going on in Sydney, Nova Scotia, where you are?
Right now, it's mild outside in my hometown of Sydney, Nova Scotia, as of right now. And it's supposed to be, it's extremely hot in Toronto, Ontario right now. So Chicago, Illinois. There's been a whole lot of rain in the southeastern United States. Brought major flood in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Water's up to their knees. The cars up to their top of the tires in Florida.
What about the storm that's about to hit through the middle of the United States this weekend?
It's really, really bad. Caused a lot of tornadoes, chain lightning, thunder. Heavy downpours, large hail, damage, winds, possible tornado. And Vancouver, British Columbia, and Seattle, Washington, Victoria, British Columbia is getting a whole lot of rain this weekend coming. It's going to rain for the next few days in Vancouver.
Hey, Frankie, have you ever met our special guest before, storm chaser Hank Vliestra?
Hi, Hank. I'm doing great so far.
Hi.
Last year, in September 23rd, 2022, Aaron J. Jack, extreme meteorologist and storm chaser Aaron J. Jack has met me in person at the Mayflower Mall on Friday, September 23rd, 2022, the day before Hurricane Fiona hit Sydney, Nova Scotia.
I noticed that, yeah. I haven't met Aaron J. Jack yet, but I like to watch his footage. Hey, Frankie, you heard about that one in Australia too, didn't you?
And I did a weather forecast for Antarctica. That means the last sunset in Antarctica will be in the end of May. That's when, sometime around the mid to late May, it's going to be 24-hour darkness in Antarctica, starting in late May. Then the first sunrise down below Antarctic Circle in late July of 2023. That means that they're in the fall right now. And sometime late next month, there'll be 24-hour darkness in Antarctica because their winter's the opposite of ours.
Hey, Frankie, I think Frank was asking about Australia. There is a big storm there.
Yes, there's a big storm in northwestern Australia. It's a cyclone doing a lot of damage. It's a category 5, doing so much damage in Australia. It's going to be really, really bad. And as in Antarctica, it's getting cold. Driving all the cold air all the way from Antarctica, that's going to intensify the storm even more.
All right, what's going on in Europe this week, Frankie?
And up around India's in the summer right now. They're getting extreme heat in India right now. Another couple of months away, monsoon season begins in India.
What about Europe this week?
Storm made.
Go ahead, Hank.
Then
I heard that
really,
storm
really,
made landfall already. It was 245 kilometer per hour winds, I believe.
It was
I
so
can't even
strong.
imagine that.
It's worse than Hurricane Fiona.
Oh,
Sweet.
And did you hear about this? It's been really, really, really bad windstorms and heavy rain and big, huge waves off the coast of England as well. And down Australia, they're getting really bad storms. Antarctic research stations will be getting really cold winter. Very, very strong winds. It's going to be minus 70 degrees Celsius to minus 80 degrees Celsius in Antarctic research stations such as Amundsen Scott South Pole Station and McMurdo Station, Antarctica, starting. And in late fall and winter, temperature we go down minus 80 or even minus 90 with the wind chill in Antarctica somewhere, including Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, Antarctica.
What's your favorite temperature, Frankie?
And do you remember Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, Antarctica? It was mighty cold there. Scientists had to be really, 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 really careful doing research. You have to be extra, extra careful for people down at research stations like McMurdo Station, Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, Antarctica, because their winter starts on June 21st, same day our summer starts. Their winter starts on the same day.
Frankie, what's your favorite temperature?
Decent temperature.
You like decent temperatures?
I love how specific that is. Now, I just want to circle back to the storms in Australia for a second there, Frankie. Is this going to be is it going to be like rainstorms? Are they going to be getting a lot of thunder and lightning, tornadoes, sandstorm?
Tell you, the hurricane-like storm, like high winds, heavy rain, thunder, and lightning, and some other areas and things like this possible. If this is the fall of the year in Australia, this is their peak of the hurricane season right now.
Oh, hurricanes. Okay, so how does that affect the surfing down there? Do they get extra awesome tidal waves or what?
They get big tidal waves, and they go the opposite ways. They go clockwise, and high pressure goes counterclockwise down there because they're in the fall of the year. Their winter starts on June 21st.
They do have opposite. The water does go in a different direction when you flush the toilet. Thank you to the Coriolis effect. Somewhere along the border, I like to think that the toilet water just sprays straight up out of the bowl right in your face because it doesn't know which direction to go. Right on the border of north and south.
Did you hear about this? In Antarctica, 24-hour darkness starts in Antarctica sometime in second half of May. It's going to bring 24-hour nighttime darkness, darker 24 hours a day in Antarctica in the second half of May. Then it's sometime in late July, it'll be first sunrise down below Antarctic Circle because their winter starts on June 21st.
I seen that you made a lot of guy videos this week, Frankie.
The guy tries to eat 50 quesadillas at once. Quesadillas at once. That's an idea. The guy eating pizza turnovers, then doing the tornado siren. And the guy and the crows. Those are the 3 comedy videos I did.
Wait, guy eats 50 crows? Did I hear that right?
The crows video is not eating crows. It's not about eating crows. It's different.
Why isn't he eating crows? I hear they're delicious if you grill them.
The guy at the crows came after the guy in the video.
Next time the guy should eat some of the crows, and then you'll have less crows attacking him.
Yeah, or at the very least, catch them all and harness them up so they can pull a sled like reindeer. They'd get better altitude than the reindeer. They're built for it.
Rain crows.
Crow deer, man. Crow deer. 50 crows versus 12 reindeer.
Anybody else got questions for Frankie?
Actually, yes. Going back to the storms in Australia and the giant tidal waves. Now, Australia is known for that a lot of the animals there can kill you. Pretty much everything in Australia can kill you. It is
Some
not
of those,
even habitat.
some of those bugs can kill you. There's the kangaroos.
Oh yeah. But in the tidal waves, with all of the poisonous jellyfish and electric jellyfish, now if lightning strikes a tidal wave that's infested with jellyfish, do the jellyfish become extra electrified? And can they then shoot lightning out their tentacles?
They can shoot lightning. What does that mean?
Well, it means like, can they just like flick you with a lightning bolt? If you're surfing and there's an electrified jellyfish, can it throw lightning at you like Zeus?
And did you hear about this?
About base guy?
Last question for you, Frankie.
Tell me
about the volcano this week that happened up Kamchatka ways.
It was really, really, really bad. A lot of mud and volcanic ash covered on top of the snow there.
Excellent. Everybody, Frankie McDonald, the man in Sydney, Nova Scotia. He's excellent. We're going to sidestep for a second. Talk to Hank Vliestra. We're going to talk to you twice tonight, but we're going to talk to you first just to kind of introduce you to the show. Hank Vliestra, welcome to the show. And please give people some of your background on storm chasing, your love for weather.
Oh, well, I have been chasing storms since about 2013, so it's not really a big, long time for me. Being over 50 years old, that's not a whole lot of my life, but I always used to think storm chasers were out of their tree and that they were just nuts. But as soon as I saw one up close, because I was already a photographer and I like to take pictures of the natural world, you know, when I saw a storm up close for the first time, it was amazing. And it's just like, you can't, I mean, even a photo doesn't do it justice, because when it's like right there in front of you, you know, it's just so massive, right? And it takes your breath away. So I just got hooked from the first time I ever did storm photography and can't get enough of it now. So, I mean, I do that just on the side. I do have a full-time job, and that's the way it tends to go for most storm chasers, even in the USA too, but even more so in Canada. We don't really make any money off of it. I just do it for fun, and it's because I like to commune with the storm out there. Anyway, yeah. Back to you, Joey.
Commune with the storm is well said, and I get that, because that's, I mean, majority of my chasing career, I never had a cell phone. All I had was a Canon camera that may have had batteries or not, depending on where we were. Mostly it was the experience, just going there and being there and witnessing and seeing what it was doing, right? So, and I mean, that behavior of mine, Mom will tell you, goes back a long time to, I mean, that's, this is my mom, by the way. And
yeah, hi, Joey's mom.
And she well recalls the time that I got zapped hard by lightning when I was like 19 and ran in the house, unable to make a sound.
Storm chasing is a lot different for me out here in Saskatchewan than it is for the majority of storm chasers anywhere, because I'm in a tiny town, just 2,500 people, and I'm surrounded by farmland mostly. And there's very sparse population base around me. And if I am on a storm somewhere near my house within 2 or 3 hours, there is nobody else. It's just me. Pretty much every time. There have been so few times when there's other storm chasers around. It's a whole lot different for people who chase in Oklahoma, Texas area. They get out there and it's just car after car after car after car after car. all pursuing the same storm. That's how it's getting these days.
I've never bumped into another chaser in Canada while watching storms.
Well, I have done down in southwest Saskatchewan. You know Jenny Hagan?
Yep.
I've run into her more than anyone. And then a few other people, both from Alberta and from Regina area. So I have run into other chasers, but not in my area. It's if I go 4 to 5 hours away from my house, then I do, especially if I go south. Yeah.
And it's generally a lonely pursuit, and people will see me sometimes parked in weird places on the Barkerville Highway, and everyone's so polite here. And like they pull over, like, "Is everything okay with your truck, Joey? Your truck's always broken down." Like, no, watching a thunderstorm. Can't you? Am I the only one that sees this happening? I remember one time I was outside Nanton, and I was sitting out there in this field, and I was watching literally the wall cloud drop and everything start turning. And then up pulls it's a truck with trailer, and it's the FBI. He's the big native guy in Nanton. He's huge and quite liquored up at this point, at this time of day. And what are you doing? Hey, it's the singing chef. You know, where have you been? It's like, I've been back in BC for 6 months. You know, and hey, right on. And so this is going on, and what are you doing? You know, these guys have just been roofing all day, right? And they're just on the back roads. At least one of them is completely liquored. And what are you doing? There's a tornado trying to form behind you. Like, whoa, you know, and they're all like, and so then like, but because he can't stop talking because he's, you know, and I'm just watching the weather, and I'm like, hey, I hate to be rude and cut you off, but that's about to maybe drop on our heads. We have to go up the road a little ways, you know. And he's like, holy, you know, and we jump in the vehicle, and then we got up to the next quarter section. We came to a bit of a rise there, and was able to stop, and it didn't reach the ground. It was beautiful though. It was beautiful. And
it amazes me, Joey. It amazes me sometimes how when you're right in front of a crazy storm, people can look at you with your camera and go, what the hell is he doing? As if they had no idea the storm was there, you know, or something like that.
Like it's
clueless. Common in small towns in Saskatchewan where people are so used to, you know, storms coming through from time to time that they don't think anything of it anymore. And they look at you like, why would you have your camera out? It's about to rain. Can't you see? You know,
and a lot of people are just clueless these days too. They walk like this, they look at the ground, they look at their feet, and you know, for those of us who are used to being in the forest and operate in the mountains a lot, you know, I'm always heads up, always been, and I'm always looking at the weather. That's how you become a danger tree assessor in a wildfire, because you're the guy that's already looking up. And hey, you're the weather expert and a tree expert, great, you know. That's how you become a crew boss. You look up more than everybody else does. You know, and what happens is I'll be watching people on my fire. We're walking and they'll be talking to each other like this as they're walking, blah, 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 blah. And I'll say to my crewmates, you know, if you can't shut your mouths, at least stop looking at each other. You know, look around, keep your head up. Pay attention to what's going on. So we're going to come back to Hank in a little bit and talk to him. We got Brandon Houck up next. Tonight's headlines, which we'll get to later in the show: prehistoric Megalodon shark in the Nechako River of Prince George. Look out, everybody. Also, forest fire in New Jersey. Of course, Cyclone Ilsa, we just talked about, hitting Australia. Heavy downpours causing floods in Miami. 25-year-old grizzly bear has been euthanized at the Toronto Zoo. I'd like to say he was serving a lifetime sentence and has finally been they carried out the execution by lethal injection. And pufferfish has killed a Malaysian couple. The fugu has killed again, and a man has been jailed for scaring 1,100 chickens to death. Brandon Houck, what do you got going on in Western Canada this week?
Well, Western Canada, it's been a kind of wild week here, especially after the weekend. It was a very nice weekend. We actually saw a nice warm up. We had last week here in Brooks, we had snow cover, snow all over the place, and we were wondering when the snow is ever going to melt. And it took 3 days, and the snow was gone, just like that. With the especially on Monday and Tuesday there with the strong westerly winds, southwesterly winds, Chinook winds gusting about 70 to 80 kilometers an hour. So that was a lot of fun earlier this week with the fairly strong Chinook winds there. Some areas had the first lightning strike of the season earlier this week, and then other areas had the first lightning strike tonight. In Calgary, for example, had the first little rumble of thunder tonight. So fairly exciting weather indeed. It's been kind of unstable the last couple of days here on April the 13th. I just got to double check what date it was. So April 13th here, we had fairly unstable atmosphere. So you got steep lapse rates. We have multi-cape values of 100 to 200 joules per kilogram here. And then you got a bit of an upslope flow. So that's allowing that pretty much textbook convection to pop up here across Alberta today. And that is what's popped up those showers, grapple. It's also throwing maybe some small hail, and we got a little rain, some snow over here. Some areas got about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. And then you get a couple of lightning strikes, a pretty good little thunderstorm near High River earlier this evening. Had some thunder and lightning in the Calgary area as well, also up in the foothills. As for example, nothing here in the Brooks area. We just had some convective showers go by, so I didn't get to enjoy any of the thunder and lightning yet, but we do this again Friday, April 14th, with that chance of isolated showers, thunderstorms. You lose that daytime heating tonight, so it all shuts down, and then it ramps back up again tomorrow with the daytime heating. So we have at least one more day of potential lightning strikes in the province of Alberta. And then we warm up for the weekend as we get into that westerly flow. So that means BC gets unsettled again for the weekend with more wet weather for the western portions of BC, and especially for parts of Vancouver Island near Tofino. They're probably going to get another 100 millimeters of rain there. And then we'll see, as I mentioned, the warm air through the weekend, nice weekend, and then things cool right back down again next week as the low pressure system moves into the province of Alberta on Monday. And then we cool down into midweek, and there are some signs that we might see some sort of snow event. We'll have to watch that very closely towards the latter stages of next week. So that would be like the 19th to the 21st there across the southern prairies. So lots of uncertainty with that. And into Manitoba, we had actually some warmer temperatures there this week. All southern Manitoba, Winnipeg got up to about 14 degrees, which is pretty nice. Lots of snow melt. And especially in southern Saskatchewan, they've had quite a bit of snow melt there, a fairly rapid snow melt there in some areas. So some flooding has been an issue earlier this week as well. And Manitoba looks like they could get another shot of snow next week. So winter just likes to hang on. Just goes away and then hangs on and comes back. Yeah.
It's been quite gross, and we've had some...
I remember that in August 2002, Red Deer, Alberta had a little snowstorm in August 2002.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had snow in every month of the year. It could snow in Alberta, pretty much.
In September 2014, Calgary had a major snowstorm in Canmore. Had a lot of snow in September 2014.
Oh, yes, that was a big snow event. Trees snapping, power lines going down. Remember that? I didn't get the snow here. I think I got like a trace or something here in Brooks, but Calgary area. Oh, yeah. It was like snow.
And do you remember that in December 2010, Sydney, Nova Scotia had 429.9 millimeters of rain a whole month of December 2010.
Well, that's a lot of rain. I think I remember that too. Yeah, I think I've seen something like that.
And did you hear about this? And then do you remember that Kazakhstan's getting a lot of snow Saturday and Sunday coming up? A big snowstorm heading for Astana, Kazakhstan. Astana is the capital of Kazakhstan.
Yes, they're getting some colder air mass. I'm just gonna sweep over there, take a look at that.
Since last week's episode, 1 million people lost power in Montreal.
That's where Base Guy lives, and Base Guy got his power back, and the Base Guy show returns on Friday, April the 14th, 2023 at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Base Guy show returns tomorrow.
Base Guy is back after a week of no power there in Montreal. So, Brandon, what happened there? That big freezing rain event?
Yeah, so that was that storm last week that caused all the severe weather stateside, tornadoes, and then we had enough and even severe thunderstorms in Ontario last week as well. And at least for areas around Sudbury, Ottawa, Montreal, they had 10 to 12 hours of freezing rain. They didn't get in that warm air like southern Ontario did, with some areas getting to 20 degrees. So they stayed below freezing. But so the rain, you get the rainfall aloft. It is warm enough for precipitation to fall as rain, but at the surface, it stayed below freezing. So that's why we had 10 to 12 hours of freezing rain. So big problems. And still, I believe there's still people without power at this time, too. So, yeah, it is insane. Over 1 million people were without power last Friday. 1 million.
1 million people.
Yes.
And then we lost power here in Wells for 24 hours at a big wind event. I was on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers, my Facebook group, which I'm not allowed to actually post on right now because Facebook has me restricted from posting to my own group because of a joke I said where I might cut off my foot and give it to somebody who has a foot fetish. That's so maddening. What was I going with this? So I was posting on it. 50 power outages in British Columbia. And as I was saying that, I could see on the velocity scans, I could see that it was coming into the Caribou, and I could see that Horsefly and Likely all had their power out, and then now Quesnel, and I was like, okay, any minute. And
hey, Brandon, Antarctica's last sunset before the winter is late second half of May 2023. Then it'll be 24-hour darkness begins at the end of May in Antarctica, down below Antarctic Circle, and the next sunrise down below Antarctic Circle, that'll be second half of July.
Crazy.
Yes. And the temperature today.
We haven't talked to Imogen yet, and we're already at 7:26.
Oh.
And by the way, it is April 13th as we record the show on Thursday nights for everybody. So this is your wrap up of the week's weather stories. If you're hearing us on TV or the radio, you can't necessarily rely on us to be your accurate forecast, but we're trying our best to tell you stuff that you want to know. Imogen Cookie Bailey, talk to us about Victoria. Talk to us about the ever so continually boring and bland weather there.
It is just that, continually boring, very bland. You all are having weather events. Your weather is so dramatic and insane that you can refer to it as an event. Here we have light showers, lots of sun, occasional clouds, highs of 11, lows of 3 in the Greater Victoria and Cow Valley area. That's what we have week after week after week. That's our dramatic weather. Little bit of rain. I want a jellyfish storm. I want some alligators to be hurled from a tornado through a trailer park and just, face first with their pointy little heads just go flying through a window. I want frog rain. But no, we have sun and mild clouds. Gentle breeze hit today. It was fantastic because I believe I saw a couple of leaves blow across the road.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Here's some intel from my mother. She was just telling me that. Speak loudly. Tell them what you just told me.
So when I was at the airport in Vancouver today, I met a guy who was not a happy camper because he had flown from Van up to Terrace. They were 10 minutes from landing and they turned the plane back because of the ash cloud from the volcano.
Oh, fantastic.
Brandon Hauk, do you have intel on this? Who always watches airplane traffic? You're muted. Yes, there you go. Hit it again. There you go.
Hello. Okay. I haven't seen anything on that yet. So that's interesting. I do.
And not only that, I got something to say. And did you hear about this? Sandstorms will be kicking up the high gear in June and July in Egypt and Libya and Sahara Desert. That's going to drive all the dry, dusty air all the way from west coast of Africa, all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, all the way from Sahara Desert to the Gulf of Mexico and southeastern United States. That's going to limit the hurricanes because sandstorms are going to be so tense, coming all the way from Sahara Desert like Egypt and Sudan and Libya and Chad and all these places, driving all the sand all the way from Sahara Desert, all the way from west coast, northwestern Africa, all the way to Gulf Coast.
So, okay, got a question about that one.
Sunset time behind Hank, everybody.
Ooh.
Look at that sunset going on. That's Saskatchewan, you got the big sky. There's
It
people.
was better earlier. Look at
There's people
at
in
least
that house watching
at
entertainment
least
tonight.
we have a lot of changing conditions here, and very exciting changes too. It's not so blah 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 here in Saskatchewan.
It's a dramatic
We
sunset.
we have a big puddle, brand new.
Ooh.
That's my friend right there because that is melting snow.
Lake Vliestra. There you go. Sunset. And it's not quite sunset time in Wells, but we're starting to see, if you look there on Cow Mountain, I can't see because I got Iron Maiden in the way. But just the first little bit of light that's starting to get onto Cow Mountain, and in about 20 minutes time, that'll start turning pink. It's like this spot on the mountain that turns pink almost every day when the conditions are like such. Okay, today's top story, before we talk to Hank, we got to talk about the top stories because prehistoric Megalodon shark in the Nechako River. Can you believe this? Imogen, you want to hear this story, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so true stories. So Rachel Cook and her stepdaughter, Addison Schill, they were in the Nechako River on Tuesday, April 11th, and they saw a Megalodon shark. Actually, they're at a section where it was both gravelly and clay. She did not have much hope for agates there. She says, as we were walking by, she and I noticed the same thing. Initially, I thought it would be our agate find of the evening because it had a big shine to it. She said 2/3 of what was hopefully an agate was submerged in the mud, but when she dislodged it, it was not what she was looking for. It was a Megalodon shark tooth. These sharks used to be 60 feet long. You know, these ones, that's the ones that everyone always wishes were still around, but aren't. And yes, so she's likely came as a result of glacier displacement. So glacier moved the tooth from somewhere else. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, glacier made it, scraped it as it was coming down here and took a very long time, slow ride, eventually settling in the mud banks of the Nechako River. So she might donate it to a BC museum. Megalodon shark tooth. What do you think of that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, all I ever find in the river is boring old gold. New Jersey, the Pine Barrens are on fire. Anyone got details on this, Brandon? The New Jersey, so it's a big forest fire situation. Now, New Jersey tends to have a lot of forest fires. It's the most densely populated state, sure, but it also has a lot of forest. It's a big national park, the Pine Barrens, and they tend to have fires in April, but this behavior looks quite extreme. Why is this happening extreme, Brandon?
Well, probably because they reached 30 degrees plus today, and it's not kind of typical for April to get over 30 degrees. So you get hot air, you get fairly dry conditions, and fairly gusty wind to go along with that, and that can spread like wildfire. That's for sure.
So what you have then is what's called crossover. So crossover is a wildfire condition where when the temperature hits 30 degrees Celsius, and then your humidity drops below 30%, your RH. Right. And then especially if you add 30-kilometer-an-hour winds, but that's not necessary, but especially if you add it, that's what's called crossover. That's where your explosive fire behavior begins. So we're always watching for crossover conditions. So this is pretty early in the season for such a northern place to be getting crossover and having ripping fires. Okay, so there's that. About the cyclone, Ilsa. What do we know about this cyclone?
Yes, so it made landfall today, I believe just kind of north of Marble Bar there. It's category 5. Winds, I believe, were gusting at least 278 kilometers an hour earlier, and that was landfall at, what was that? Yes, that was about 8 a.m. our time here, so I don't know what time it would be in Australia then, but anyways, so that was a fairly powerful storm, still ongoing. I believe it is probably weakening now that it has made landfall and is making its way through land there, but it's live.
Appears to be a series of severe thunderstorms.
Yeah. So yeah, very powerful storm. So we'll have to dig for some images here. So I haven't seen anything from there yet, but
I'm not sure we're allowed to show images because of our new TV mandate. Right.
know.
So Miami yesterday, local folk singer, Maren Patnaud, who grew up in Horsefly, lives in Vancouver. She was in Florida yesterday and posting about so there was a continuous thunderstorm. It just didn't stop.
That storm that was over Fort Lauderdale there, that was stalled there for at least, oh boy, I'd say 5 hours, 6 hours, something like that. And it dropped over 500 millimeters of rain in just that span of time. So they had some significant flash flooding problems, including the airport all flooded up there. A lot of businesses and homes flooded, and cars getting stranded because they couldn't drive through the water because you got to remember, whenever you have major flooding, turn around or don't drown. And everybody decided to drive right through there, and that's not good. So that's that's in Fort Lauderdale there on that would be the 12th of April. That's when that occurred. So, significant flooding and even tornado warnings. I think there was a tornado touchdown as well.
It was a supercell. I don't know about whether or not there's tornadoes, but it was supercellular. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
So Florida man got lucky. He got a 6-hour thunder show. I wish that would happen here. That would be so awesome. I'd be just in heaven. Update on the Florida man story.
Which one?
All of them.
All of them. Oh boy.
So I've discovered as to why there are so many Florida man stories.
Oh yeah, I know this.
Yep. Lead?
No, it's not because of the lead, although that seemed to be, 9 million houses with lead pipes might make a significant part of the population somewhat psychotic, I'm sure. But actually, Florida, dating back over 100 years, has, and DeSantis is trying to change this, it has the most open governmental records of any state in the United States, right? So by legal law, everything that the government deals with is a matter of public record, right? So that means every person who has addiction issue and is at the worst moment of their life and an extreme mental health problem and then does something, that becomes like the meme of the week, Florida man this or Florida man that. And it's not like these insane people aren't everywhere. It's just that you have more access to the information about Floridians being Floridians. Insane. Yes.
Stuff of legend.
That's true. That's legal reality. I discovered on a lengthy YouTube video I watched last night. That's of a channel by a lawyer who was discussing Florida's laws and why. So after 25 years of life sentence, the grizzly bear at the Toronto Zoo has received a lethal injection and is executed, and their punishment is now over. Lived at the zoo for 24 years, this poor bear. But I will say the Toronto, as far as zoo goes, Toronto Zoo is, I don't like the idea of zoos, but Toronto Zoo is probably one of the better ones in terms of how much space animals have, how much treatment they get, blah, blah, blah. Still, I have grizzly bears that live here, and I'll tell you, they walk 1,000 kilometers, some of them in the summer. That's not an animal that should ever be caged up for any reason. Jordan Ticelli, who works for TSN, she pledged to eat a poutine hot dog for every home run the Blue Jays hit in their home opener. And she was really funny because she tweeted, for every Blue Jays homer tonight, I'll eat a poutine hot dog. I might make it shift to and find a vegetarian hot dog, but I'm committed to the bit. She says she's committed. She's a liar. We found out. Then she's running to get a poutine hot dog because Matt Chapman hit a home run in the 4th inning. And so then she's stuffing her first poutine hot dog. And then she's starting to get tears thinking about Vlad hitting a home run because Kevin Kiermaier and George Springer just hit one. So now she's like double fisting hot dogs. But then no more homers. I can't eat more hot dogs. She's crying. And she gave up. And they ran into veggie dogs. And for the sake of my organs, I hope this can suffice for the rest of the hot dogs I couldn't eat tonight. And I'm kind of disappointed because if you remember that guy who made that movie, Super Size Me? I mean, that guy would have put all them hot dogs away.
Had follow through. But to be fair, she didn't necessarily have to eat all the hot dogs in one sitting. I mean, she could have spaced them out. She could have had one tonight, had one tomorrow. She could have
No,
put
she has to eat them during the game. They have to be from the stadium hot. That's the new thing that's going on. Oh my goodness, it's the new thing there. The poutine hot dog. So okay, what am I looking at here?
I mean, if you really need to clog an artery at record speed, there's a lot of great ways of doing it. And I think a poutine hot dog would be effective if that's your goal, which it really should be. More plugged arteries.
So two people in their early 80s purchased 2 puffer fish from an online vendor and starting to have trouble breathing and shaking, and then they died. So don't buy fugu from
did they buy the puffer fish? Did they buy the fish to be pets, or did they buy it to make their own sushi? Was this like a dietary Russian roulette or what?
I think they were trying to buy fugu to safe cuts of fugu, and they weren't safe cuts. And then a man in China has been sentenced to 6 months in jail for scaring 1,100 of his neighbor's chickens to death. He snuck onto his neighbor's property and used a flashlight to frighten the chickens. The light caused the chickens to flee to the corner of the coop where they trampled over each other. The incident stemmed from months-long feud between the neighbors that first began when Gu cut Zhang's trees without permission. And the first encounter with the chickens resulted in 500 dying. The angry neighbor wasn't finished after that, though. He returned to the chicken and used the killer flashlight once again, causing 640 more chickens to die. So
that's delightful.
Yeah, that's a terrible guy. What a terrible guy.
To death. I mean, that's a creative way of doing it. It's simple. It's hands off. You're not actually like going in and like, you know, snapping their necks or doing something ghoulish and awful. It's still bad. I mean, you know, that guy can suck it, but still, flashlight as a weapon of choice isn't one you typically think of.
Now, why wouldn't you just use a bomb?
Hey, Joey, don't forget your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, Joey.
Right. Thank you, Frankie. Don't you forget, your birthday's coming up. You're going to be 39 years old this year, Frankie.
Yes. I got something else to say. Total solar eclipse heading for Sydney, Nova Scotia on Monday, April 8, 2024.
Mom and I are going to be there. She's already planning the tickets.
Oh, really?
We're going to go to Sydney, Nova Scotia to see the eclipse together, Mom.
Oh.
Brandon's going to be there. And now that Hank knows, he's probably wants to come see the eclipse. We're going to go to the Cape Breton Highlands, over top the ocean.
I'd love to see it. But...
What about Aaron J. Jack? He could come. He met me in person last year.
Tell Reed Timmer to come.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. And I can imagine his expression when the eclipse is happening. He's like, it's right there. You know. And anyways, Hank Vliestra, we still have 15 minutes left in the show, and we'd like to ask you about your favorite storm intercepts. I know for me, we were just talking earlier, you're talking about communing with the storm, and there's something about, a few weeks ago, we had our ChaserCon guests on, and they were talking about how they don't like to get too close. And I was like, oh, yeah. And for me, like, I always in fact, I got close so much that I got struck by lightning, and it was awesome. I like to get close. I like to be where the fire's breaking out. I like to be there fighting the fire. But there's something about when the thunderstorm's really angry and the pressure starts sinking, and it's like, you can almost hear it. And everything. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Hey, but before I get into that, have you looked up the Florida Man stories where you look up your birthday and you type in your birthday and you type in Florida Man? Have you done that?
We were playing this a couple weeks ago, weren't we, everybody?
Well, I did it recently because my son told me to do this, and the story that came up on my birthday was Florida Man brings alligator into liquor store.
Oh, is it mine? It's got Florida Man. Oh no, that's July 17th. Yeah. Florida Man encases self in concrete at governor's mansion. So I kind of like that guy, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, when it comes to, you were asking whether I like to be up close or not. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, you're talking about communing, so I think you know what I'm talking about. The energy of the storm.
The most impressive thing that I've experienced where I never expected it would be as dramatic as it was large hail when approaching. You could hear it coming before it actually hit. And it was just an amazing thing to witness because you could hear that hail and then all of a sudden it's right there and just coming down and bouncing and stuff. And that was amazing. As for whether I like to be up close to a nasty storm, well, not too close. You know what I mean? It can get where it's not fun anymore. And it's happened to many storm chasers, you know what I mean? So you just want to get out of there at some point. So not too close.
Well, and we have the luxury in Canada of so many of our storms being kind of safe, right? And then you get into one sometimes where you're like, oh, this is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta, and what can happen to me is I can get into radar holes. And sometimes I don't catch on right away, but I'm starting to learn from my mistakes. But there have been times where I look at the radar and go, I guess I'm okay still. And I hadn't realized that it's been 25 minutes since the radar updated, you know, and I know where to look now on the screen, but you can get in trouble. You gotta not only watch the radar, but watch the sky too, you know? So that can be a problem.
And for most of my life, I've been detached without, I've never owned a cell phone that connects for more than a month at a time, when I'm out there, it's all field. Right. So there's strengths and weaknesses to both. Lately, I've become pretty sophisticated with radar. And as I've had the weather group for almost 10 years now, of course, I've tried to give interesting kinds of, but I've always found once I'm there and once it's happening, I kind of know what the show is going to be like most of the time. Got a pretty good feel of it. And usually I'm the guy telling everyone around me, here's what's going to happen.
Back in the year 2018 in July and August, Washington, D.C. and eastern seaboard United States had so much rain in summer 2018.
That's awesome. It's a lot of rain in 2018. For anyone watching now, 2018 had a lot of rain in some place.
Favorite
Washington, D.C. Like Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and all these places in Virginia.
Favorite tornado intercept? Do you have any tornado intercepts that stand out?
Tornado siren goes.
Yeah, it does. I think all tornado sirens should be changed to Frankie's voice doing that. It would be so much more identifiable than the actual siren.
We'll get Hank once he's inside. He's coming in to warm up. We'll ask him about tornado intercepts. Mom last year had one come through the town of Madoc, eh?
Yeah.
And I was calling Mom frantically for like 2 days. Why the hell aren't you answering phones? And then finally, one of my aunts is like, "Oh, she's fishing 200 kilometers north or something." And I was like, "Oh."
Cell phone didn't work.
What happens if a tornado hits downtown Oklahoma City or downtown Denver?
Well, it's happened many times. Moore and El Reno and Oklahoma City is Norman. That's the place you go to get hit by tornadoes.
What about downtown Dallas?
What about
Downtown Dallas has been hit by a strong F3 before in the past. Hey, what was that one? You remember that one, Brandon?
I'll have to look here again. Dallas tornado. That's twice
I've busted you. I got you tonight.
I know. I'm just not into it tonight, baby. That's 1957. That's right.
Not into tornadoes, Brandon. Come on.
1997.
Around in 1957. Come on now.
So remember that in September 1996, Hurricane Hortense hit Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, totally remember that. That was a good one.
I'm thinking of the tornado outbreak of 2019, October 20th to 22nd is the one I was thinking about.
There's a lot of tornadoes that year, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
EF3 tornado, 140 miles an hour in Dallas, Fort Worth area there. So that was quite a show for all them people.
I guess that does count as an outbreak. I mean, if anything's going to be an outbreak, it's better to have tornadoes than herpes. So, I mean, this is a win for weather, at least, in trailer parks.
So when the tornado hit our town, nobody killed?
Nope.
Nobody injured?
Actually, no, I'm lying. There were 2 deaths in Havelock.
Oh, that's right. So the tornado went through Havelock, Marmora, Madoc, skipping along last fall. And all I could do was sit here from a distance going, oh my God, I always said it was going to happen. And then, but you know, this wasn't in rocket science because my aunt's house about 3 miles from Mom's house got hit by a tornado in May 2000.
I think so.
That was May 2000. Yeah. So it, and it was really funny because an F0 hit the house, right? It was a small tornado. But what that was a vortice off the main one. They went up to the cottage to go fishing, and Weather Network guys show up and take a look around at the house and see a couple broken branches and like, oh, F0, yeah. And they put it on the news because my uncle, he's like on there, oh, it's a real big tornado. You should see it. Trees everywhere, you know, because my uncle's just a yokel. And so they're making fun of him. And everyone in Madoc's and seeing my uncle like, yeah, pretty big tornado you had there, eh, Dean? He's like, no, you don't. But actually, that was a vortice and because he wasn't there to show them the back of the property where the actual probably F1, F2 damage.
Okay.
Line right through the maple, because it's a maple bush for making maple syrup, like big maple trees, branches like just ripped off of these 400-year-old trees, right? And you know, and these are branches. You know, it was some pretty strong damage. So that was just down there, and I was hitchhiking that day, and I could see the storm. And I was like, oh my, and I got to Spider's house, and the phone rang. Oh, your aunt's house has been hit by a tornado. Like, oh my God.
Well, last year it touched down in just outside of Madoc, between Madoc and Tweed, and it did not lift. It just ran a course for probably 10 kilometers and just wiped everything. It was quite something to drive it.
Some solid F2 damage or something like that. Was it, Brandon? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, F2 damage there. Yeah.
Solid F2. Hank, well, we got you still for a couple minutes. Favorite tornado intercept experience? You have to unmute.
Is that a question for me, Joey?
Yes, favorite tornado intercept experience.
You know what? I have not seen a tornado. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I can believe that.
I have seen many supercells, just I have not seen a tornado yet. But my favorite, it's a little tricky to say, but I love the ones where I'm with my friends in the same vehicle. And one of my favorite people to chase with is Cynthia out of Saskatoon. And there were more than one occasion where I was with Cynthia that, well, usually 2 people, Cynthia and her friend. And when they just get giddy with excitement over what they're seeing in the sky, that is what really is the most memorable thing to me. And I've had it both with supercells and with even more so, I'd say, with shelf clouds, because when you're chasing a shelf cloud, there's a better chance that you can stay with it for a long time. You can stay in front of that thing sometimes for 2 hours, 3 hours, depending how fast they're moving, right? It all depends how fast that thing's moving. And there have been some really fast moving ones, but there have been times where we just stay ahead of the shelf cloud. You go a bit, stop, take some pictures, then you got to get going because it's catching up on you, and you have to be in front of it. And those things, they look not even real, and sometimes they're so impressive to look at.
Growing up in Ontario, I had definitely involvement in tornadic storms. No visual myself. One where I was caught out in it at a punk fest party. And literally tornado hit that night and all of us were in the forest. Like, it was wild, very wild. 1995 July Punk Fest in Ontario, Marmor, Ontario. Definitely have been in the storm that produced tornadoes. Definitely had these events growing up in the 80s. We had a number of big tornado events that were notable in Ontario that were very shaping to me, but I'd never seen one on the ground in Ontario. That's the one province I hadn't. In Manitoba, seen one on the ground, most definitely. I was with Bob Wayne and the Outlaw Carnies, and we're on tour, and I'm like, there it is. I told you, because I've been saying for like 2 hours. We're driving him through behind a line of storms. We're going to possibly come through some tornadic weather. And, and the Americans would all laugh, and the country musicians say, tornadoes, we got to come to Canada to see tornado. And I was like, look, there it is. And he's like, that's not a tornado. And I go, I've never seen one. They're all saying. And then we got to after witnessing this, we get to Winnipeg and we pull into the Royal Albert, and the manager for the propaganda is there, and he's saying, yeah, did you come through those tornadoes? And it's like, as a matter of fact, we did. And there's Bob Wayne. Another time on tour between Saskatoon and Regina, we passed one tornado on the ground. Multiples of supercell intercepts in Alberta for myself. Only one on the ground that I see near Vulcan in 2008. Shortly after that was a storm that also touched down in Tabor and wrecked a whole bunch of grain bins, and 5,000 acres were destroyed by hail. Excellent. And seen a tornado on the ground here in BC. So I've done pretty good at seeing them. Frankie, how does everyone see you on the internet?
If you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter is @FrankieMacD. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is FrankieMacD1984. My TikTok is FrankieDonald1984. My Clapper is FrankieDonald1984. My Twitch is FrankieDonald1984. My Snapchat is FrankieMacDon. My LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. And my YouTube channel is Dogs Rose. Best luck to you. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to me plus Meteorology. For every Thursday night. I'll see all you guys will see me on Base Guy Show tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 4 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Base Guy Show at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. All you guys will see me on Base Guy Show.
Okay, we'll see you there, Frankie. Imogen.in, you can find her there. Brad and Hauk, find him on Twitter. And Hank, you got a Twitter handle or website you want to point at?
I was muted. What was the question?
You got a Twitter handle or a website you want to promote?
Hey, you know what? I wanted to bring something up. You were telling stories about the Megalodon or something. Anyway, it reminded me of one time I like to hike. I was hiking out in Saskatchewan, and I had my young son with me, and we went up this area where it was just pasture land. It was big hills, even here in Saskatchewan, big hills. Can you believe it? Anyway, we found sticking out of a hillside bones, and because they were just barely protruding from underground, I thought that must be dinosaur bones. I was all excited, telling my son we found dinosaur bones.
It was a cow.
And I took pictures and stuff, and I sent them to this guy who's like an expert. I sent the pictures, and he's going, well, that looks like cow bones.
I called that one.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show this week, Hank, and Brandon Hauk, and Imogen, and I'm Joe Haveman, Allie Haveman. Here we are. Well, my mom here for my birthday. Thanks everybody for being here. This is the most birthday party I'm probably gonna have.
Happy
so
birthday.
lonely.
Happy birthday, Joey Only, and have a great birthday for Frank Town.
Happy birthday to you,
Yeah.
Frankie. And
Joey,
that's
you have a birthday soon, don't you?
April 17, 1979. Like them numbers. That's the show for this week, everybody. We're done. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Hi.
There we go. Good
And
job, everyone.
Frankie's out on the button. 7 o'clock, he
Frankie's-
slides through the door. 8 o'clock, he screams out at it.
Frankie's gone.
Yep.
Frankie.
We're still
has
live
left the
streaming,
building.
but this is
We
we can
are.
unbutton her. Did you like my Travel Alberta shirt this week there, Brandon?
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And check this out. It's got highway. It's got a bunch of highway logos on the cuffs.
Oh yeah, I see the Trans Canada Highway there.
Yeah,
live
it's
right-
got,
Well, pretty close to it. Not right
Yeah,
beside.
and number 5 and the number 5.
Oh yeah, number 5, number 16, Yellowhead Highway.
Mhm.
Is that it?
Joey's got gear that says Travel Alberta, but I last weekend did travel to Alberta, so there.
Oh yes,
And then this weekend, guess where I'm going?
Manitoba.
Tomorrow. Alberta.
Wow.
Alberta.
I'll be back.
You save yourself a lot of gas if you just park there.
I have my mom. I got to see my mom. Oh, and my dad. They're in
That's
Alberta.
good.
Because I hardly got to see them last week. I was hanging out with Brandon and friends all weekend,
yeah.
basically.
Pretty awesome way to spend some time. Is that ChaserCon would have been a lot of fun.
I grew up in Alberta and didn't move to Saskatchewan until 12-ish years ago, about. So I've only been a Saskatchewan guy the last dozen years. So I like it out here.
I'm gonna go to ChaserCon someday because but I'm going for the girls.
You're gonna have to Prairie Girls Gala for the girls.
Yeah, it's probably a better
Yeah.
I have much better odds there.
It's great to meet people and know who they are in person. But at the same time, I'd kind of rather be in front of a storm than at a ChaserCon
Oh my god, yes.
building without any windows in it and just sitting there listening to people talking all day long. But it's still great to meet those people. You know what I mean?
I'd be losing my fucking mind. Yeah. I've learned that I'm pretty ADD. And I would sit there for about an hour, like, this is pretty interesting. And then after a while, I'd be like, holy fuck, this
Then you
chair.
just be bored.
I can't see outside. This chair is starting to. Wow, look at the hair on that guy. That guy's got a funny hair. One is different colored. Wow, and it's like I need details, and after a while, I'm just sitting there, which is funny because I can sit in my house and listen to university level lectures, for fun. But if I go out in public, and it's the worst because I was a country singer, so I get invited to go to these folk shows, and people would want me to go, and since I've retired from country music, no one expects me to do this anymore. But I go there, and I feel like, as this is my next song about my feelings, and like, just. That's great. Get me the fuck out of here. So it's I get you. But at the same time too, I don't know. I can sit there through courses and classes like it's the most interesting thing that's ever happened. So I don't know. But yeah, I just think the social anxiety of being at ChaserCon, I'd probably be a little bit like you. I'd probably have to get up and go outside for like half an hour at a time.
I got to get running. I got to go do a thing and hang out with the dog.
I'm going to visit with my mom.
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, the dog's...
Yeah, you should. Joey, you got to talk to your mom.
Okay. I'm going to talk to my mom now.
I'm going to make
All right.
Yeah, you got to answer to your mom.
Oh,
That's what
shit.
you got to do.
I got to carry shit.
All right.
That's okay.
Still
I got it.
scrapping young farm boy. Let's go. Let's go get the shit, Mom.